It's now time to welcome our next guest, Jeff Small, president of Arbor Financial Services in Melbourne, Florida. He's a longtime resident of Florida with more than 30 years of experience in the financial services industry. His book, Turning Financial Planning Right Side Up, is an Amazon bestseller, and it has helped thousands of readers master the inside game of investing and to avoid Wall Street and media bias. He's a highly sought-after speaker who appears regularly on many of the nation's top TV and radio shows, including CNBC, Fox News, Fox Business News, Bloomberg Radio, and of course, the Income Generation. Most importantly, he's a friend of the Income Generation, as well as a personal friend of yours truly. Jeff, it's great to have you back on the show.
It's great to be here, Dave.
And we have a little surprise next week for our Income Generation viewers, because one of us is going to be here and one of us is going to be on vacation. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
That's right. So you get to see this handsome fellow filling in. But I don't want to take up all of our time on that. I want to talk to you about aging gracefully when it comes to financial decisions. You know, people have a mentality about offense, building their net worth. But we all know that when you get close to retirement, defense is more important, preserving what you have. So why is it so hard for people to make that transition? In other words, to age gracefully when it comes to money?
Well, financial health is important to your relative health, but it's a hard transition because we're stuck in a mode of accumulation for 30 to 35 years prior to our retirement. And what ends up happening is we have to cross the bridge of learning how to conserve the asset versus accumulate. And that's a tough road to crack, Dave.
It's tough. And so what do you do to help people overcome that, to help people age gracefully, if you will, financially, so that they can make that paradigm shift without them thinking that they're giving up on offense?
Well, first of all, most folks understand that from 2008 and 2000, they're still living through the post-traumatic stock market drop syndrome. And with the market's recent rattles, it's been more important to conserve your asset and go into things that are safe as opposed to accumulated oriented, because the growth aspect of it is not going to be worth it if they lose it. So we have to illustrate that to folks and what the cost of that would be when the market drops.
So you think by people making the logical side of that and understanding it, that helps overcome the emotional stuff. But we both know that sometimes emotional decisions override logic. So we need to take a commercial break. We come back, we're going to ask Jeff about how he helps people get through this emotional process, this emotional transition. Every athlete wants to rack up the score no matter how much they're ahead, so it's no different with us. Stay with us. You're watching David Scranton here on the Income Generation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton, and I'm blessed to be here with expert financial advisor Jeff Small. Jeff, thanks for sticking around. So, Jeff, you were a baseball player, a very competitive baseball player, and you played some football too. So, you know as a football player that if you're 3 or 4 touchdowns ahead and there's 2 minutes left in the game, what do you focus on, offense or defense? What's the smart thing to focus on?
Well, you want to focus on defense.
On defense. But as a football player, as an offensive player, it's not how you're wired though. So how do you overcome that? You know, you don't have a coach there to beat you up to say, no, it's not about offense, it's about defense. Don't go throwing any Hail Marys up there. We're going to run the ball, keep it on the ground, run out the clock. You don't really have that. When it comes to do-it-yourselfers investing their money, they've got to have that self-discipline. So they've got to own it emotionally, not just logically. How do you help people make that emotional transition?
Well, the irony today, Dave, is most people are already feeling in their own mind, their instincts are going off, how do we keep our money safe? And so what we do basically is we educate folks on what the safe money options are in the universe of safe money so they can find a way to at least net 5% and avoid the next market downturn, because we know the market's at a peak and technically we are in a bear market right now.
So I've seen you, for example, sometimes showing people, if you swing for the fences and you lose 20%, what impact that might have on your goals and your retirement, versus if you just make the steady Eddie returns, how you can live a comfortable retirement. How much is that soft side, that more right brain side, help in people making that emotional transition?
Well, it helps immensely. When folks can see the fact that they can net 5% over the long term, doubling their money is not going to really make that much of a difference if they hold on to for more market gains. But if they lose 30, 40, 50% of it, they're going to take a 30, 40, 50% in income for the rest of their retired cycle. And that will cause a lot of stress, Dave.
And I've seen this. I mean, I've had the pleasure of sitting with you in your office and watching you, and I've seen people's reactions to that. And when you actually show them using your optics on the computer and you show them, look, this is what happens with a 20% return. How does this affect your money? How does it affect your goals? How does it affect your sense of well-being as a retired person? All of a sudden, I've just seen the lights go on. It seems like that helps a lot. And I mean, tell us more about that. We've got 1 minute left. Tell our income generation members what you can tell them about how to make this transition, this paradigm shift, and why it's so incredibly important to age gracefully financially.
Sure. Well, becoming financially literate is very difficult. And so what they want to do is find an advisor that's going to show them how to be a conservation and income centric, where they can find a way to net 5%, and what are the best options that are maybe in the marketplace today to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good advice. It's good advice, and obviously it's good advice because your book is an Amazon bestseller. We always talk about the fact that my book only made it up to number 2 on the Amazon list. Mr. Small's book made it up to number 1. So, Jeff, it's a pleasure having you on the show once again, and we'll look forward to you being here next week, too.
I look forward to it.
You stay with us, too. We have more here on the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton. We'll be right back.